to talk about something interesting.
Perhaps you've been on social media recently and seen posts about NFT drops, then several hundred angry comments about said NFT drop, how it's burning down the rainforests. Maybe you saw one of your artist friends offering NFTs for their art. Perhaps, God forbid, you're somehow surprised that anime and manga rights holders are willing to monetize their IP however possible, and capitalism encourages absolutely no shame in doing so. If that's the case, well, beware people selling bridges, my sweet summer child. Maybe you have some sort of stance already on all of this. Maybe you feel that you need to have a stance on this. Great, I'm not doing this video to convince, only to inform. Well, I figure it's about time we address the annoying, white, plot-irrelevant elephant in the room and have a talk about the impending revolution of digital collectibles and what it's going to be like for anime and manga. As a disclaimer, I do not own any NFTs. Well, aside from my Twitter pic that I minted on Cardano just for B-roll, and if you don't know what any of that means, you are the person I'm making the video for. I am not sponsored or trying to convince you to buy any NFT or cryptocurrency. I am absolutely not for nor against any of this, nor is this a hit piece. Frankly, I'm just tired of reading incredibly uninformed emotional reactions every time the three letters NFT are brought up. They are not the devil incarnate, and they are also not the second coming of Haruhi Suzumiya. What they are, though, is very, very, very likely to continue becoming an ever more important part of anime consumerism. So stick around and keep an open mind, and we'll kick back, watch the world burn, and hopefully learn something along the way. There's really two aspects to an NFT. First, the collection aspect, and secondly, the digital-only aspect. I'll go over both of these in relation specifically to anime merchandise so we can understand the concept of what and how and why these are going to make money, and then move on to the technical aspects and more commonly discussed questions and topics. But to understand why literally every media property, sport, and even concept that you love is inevitably going to be tokenized, we first have to start somewhere that you'll find somewhat more comfortable. I own 4 cells from the original Sailor Moon anime and 1 from Tenchi Muyo. I made sure to get some from my favorite episodes and directors. Some have the Genga, all are in pretty good condition, all things considered. I paid somewhere between $70 and $200 for each of them individually, and this one from the R movie being the most expensive. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that for the vast majority of you watching this video, you're probably not going to recoil in shock or find anything that I've said offensive. That's because anime production cells and Gengar are an incredibly good collectible. They're easy to display and ship, extremely hard to replicate or forge, and clearly show your love of a certain show. Most of all, they're unique. No anime studio is going to animate the same thing 8 times over. And I'm going to guess most of you aren't laughing at my handcrafted display of them. Like, just print out a screenshot, lol. Most of us understand both elements that make an anime cell valuable, scarcity and affection. There are a limited number of painted animation cells in existence, and they're clearly tied to something meaningful for a vast number of people, or at least the people who would watch this video. So, of course, the cells I own are reproducible digitally. I'm sure you've made a screen cap from an anime or wallpaper, or even printed out one for pure aesthetic decoration, maybe something from 5 centimeters per second, or something like that. Heck, even studios will sometimes sell print runs of famous screenshots or artwork from their shows as posters. I was thinking of buying a 10th anniversary Madoka Magica print from Chef's store a little while ago. Kyoani will sell you one right now, $11 for Kumiko. Now don't get me wrong, seeing Kumiko's face above your bed every day when you wake up has some intrinsic value, but what if you had an original Kumiko character sketch from the late animation genius Shoko Ikeda? You'd probably consider that pretty valuable, and it's sadly inherently limited. You can check out my eulogy video for more. I shouldn't need to talk much more on scarcity. Consider there exists a single cell of the Sailor Moon-esque crying meme, or one of Spike from the moment he says bang. It's not inconceivable that those would reach tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, purely because they're the perfect combination of being scarce and having a huge mimetic and emotional impact. My Spice and Wolf Collector's Edition is number 882. It's worth about $800 more because it's from the original run, as is my Dark Blastoise and Blackluster Soldier, etc. on down the line. We see this first idea replicated in collection-based NFTs. There's some element of imposed scarcity onto them, limited runs, gachapon rarity levels, etc. But the second part is where they're currently getting tripped up. The offerings available right now aren't anything that any sane person actually wants to collect. By using slot machine rarity tactics and hype, something so wholly and entirely unappealing as a pixelated monkey with gold teeth has value based on rarity alone. I call these the extremely low effort art NFTs, and they really are a dime a dozen. Look, here's a site that shows how many fucking, I don't know, shitty ass smoking goats were just minted on Cardano as I record this. This goat does not move my soul. It does not say something about the human condition. Why does it exist? Why? It shouldn't surprise you if, as a creator of the goat, I can get a couple-ish dollars for almost zero work. It's pretty much infinite money on the side of the content creator. Likewise, it's pretty trivially easy and lucrative for an artist to mint an NFT of some art they've already completed and sell the NFT on a marketplace. It's basically free money. I just did my Twitter profile pic that I made back in college. I'll sell it to you right now for 10,000 crypto dollars. But does anyone want my stupid Viva la Evolucion pun? No, not really. This is why the obnoxious marketing and NFT bros will attempt to get you to care about this. Current offerings are just some really bland, algorithmically generated art that is rare, yet soulless. How can we make it less so? Well, we could attach it to a property that everybody already loves. The thing with anime is the other side of the collectible is already there. You already care about anime and have some non-zero desire to project that. That's where anime and manga are inherently strong as art forms. They're narrative mediums that do the work to make you feel some connection to the fiction. The stories affected you or your life in some way. The power of fiction to move you and affect you needs no introduction, and I would say anime is as effective, if not substantially more, than something like sports at doing this. You may not be shocked to know the NBA already sold some of their best moments as NFTs. Why not anime? When the value of the collectible stops being determined by the algorithmically generated rarity and instead by the efficacy of the artistic creation or narrative weight behind the art it is tokenizing and the human and emotional connection to such, then NFTs may start to make some degree of sense. But we have to account for the other aspect. NFTs aren't real. I own a mess of DVDs and Blu-rays. I could, and occasionally do, at any time pop one out into the player and watch the show. But the truth is, I have digital copies of every single one of these on my computer, linked to my TV as a media server. I can watch all of them without opening the box. I'm sure many of you can relate. It really hit me as they're releasing Neon Genesis Evangelion on Blu-ray. I have it on a hard drive and it's on Netflix if I wanted to recommend it to someone. I've got my Mari and Kaoru and Shinji on the Froggy Chair merch. Do I really need or want to buy the Blu-ray? No, really, is it a worthwhile investment? The general conceit is that physical stuff is becoming less and less relevant in our modern day. While my cells make great wall decoration, there's an argument that unless you come to my house and see them, they're less relevant as a collectible than something digital. After all, my existence is substantially more digital than physical these days, and I'm willing to bet that's the trend for many of you as well. Look, I got a degree expecting to work for a hobby magazine. For the Zoomers out there, a magazine was this place where a bunch of people would write articles and interviews and news and put some kind of good pictures on some glossy paper and sell it, sort of like a disposable book. A book was kind of like a YouTube video essay, but it was longer and you had to read it. Anyway, now look at me. This is my favorite manga panel. It is of Lord Yupa's death in Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. It had a great effect on me and my outlook on life. I have it, of course, saved as a PNG and can access it digitally whenever I like. Now, imagine, if you will, Hayao Miyazaki came out and said he's offering every panel of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind's manga as an NFT, but only one copy of each panel. Great fundraising tactic. Well, now we've got a situation here. I would never in a million years buy a crypto platypus or whatever, but here I'm tempted to buy the NFT associated with this panel. You're leveraging my emotional attachment to this work, just like anime has been so good at doing to sell merch for the last 50 plus years. From a purely capitalist idea, this is only really missing that last degree of pride or jealousy being monetized. Like, say you hover over the panel on your manga reader and you see the person that owns that panel's NFT at Clear and Sweet. Oh damn, now you have a business model. Now you have a use for the vanity. This is also not tangentially what current NFT collectible offerings are trying to do by integrating with Twitter and profile pictures and the like. That leads us very nicely to what we have on offer recently in this space. Let's look at the offering from Fist of the North Star. Ostensibly it's branded and supported by the original creator, else this would be a heck of a lot of work just to get shut down by a copyright takedown, but you do have to be careful. Anyone can mint an NFT of anything. You'd have to make sure you're buying the NFT from the legitimate creator or rights holder, and many buyers aren't checking super closely. So we've got moments here, I guess a short video describing a pivotal event in the series. I don't know, I'm not a Fist of the North Star fan. This kind of bums me out, because even if they were Sailor Moon moments, I don't know that I'd be interested. You can always make more moments, and I don't know if this has any intrinsic rarity with like 12 of each moment. Some of the best NFTs are the definitive NFTs of just one thing, like Nyan Cat or my panel idea. Imagine each cell or screen of an anime is an NFT. That's something I'm a little more interested in than moments. And for those of you asking, yeah, sure, they could do another run of NFTs of something they already sold NFTs of previously. There's nothing stopping them, but they would do some damage to the supply and integrity of the product. Also, you could always tell if you had a first run, so it's no different than baseball cards or Pokemon cards. To cap it off, it's also in a gacha format, and it's kind of a bummer, but it does increase the sales and the price. If you've ever foolishly bought a blind box of anything, you know you're that type of idiot who understands how slot machines work. And finally down here they say that they're using a proof-of-stake blockchain to mint these, but they don't say which one. That brings us into the nitty-gritty. Take notes, there will be a test. I understand if you dip out here, but if you're going to be interacting with any of these NFTs in the future, this is really the content that you need to know. On a basic quantifiable level, NFTs are one line on a distributed blockchain ledger that associates your wallet address with the hyperlink to a media server of a picture or a song or whatever it is you bought. Here's what you don't have. You do not have the rights to use or replicate that which you buy. Do not get anything physically. And you don't even get anything new digitally. It's all already available. Here's what you do get. A record of owning it. Even if you sell it, your wallet will be verified as having owned it. The assurance that your ownership of said NFT cannot be imitated nor duplicated. This is the non-fungible part of the non-fungible token. Now, these benefits on their surface seem kind of pointless in the context of collectibles, but we'll get there. I saw a pretty insightful tweet comparing it to naming a star or adopting an animal, which isn't that far off. Like that, but if there was a global database and record trail of which star and which dolphin. How much for Alpha Centauri? For Flipper? Or even Echo? Who is this lord of all stars and dolphins that sells them? Does everyone else agree that your NFT of Beetlejuice is credible? Keep in mind that buying shitty PNGs is far from the only use case of an NFT and not even close to all the uses of a blockchain. It's widely speculated that GameStop is actively developing a game market for selling and buying digital games using NFT technology, so I can finally get rid of this copy of Death Stranding from my Steam account. The financial markets are another great application. An NFT for a stock would prevent large abuses like naked short selling and rehypothecation, and boy is that for another video and another channel and another person. Let's address some common questions or arguments levied against the blockchain for collectible NFT purposes. Are NFTs egregiously environmentally damaging? This answer relies on you understanding a bit about crypto in general, and keep in mind this is a gross oversimplification, and I encourage you all to look into it more before supporting something blindly. Basically, there are broadly two methods for verifying a blockchain. The first is proof of work. Notable proof of work cryptocurrency includes Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is an older standard where the blockchain is secured by an inconceivably hard math problem, and the first person who solves it wins the reward and keeps the blockchain secure. This would be fine if the economies of scale didn't kick in and the quote-unquote people solving the problems weren't hyper-specialized graphics cards called ASICs, owned by relatively few people in power-guzzling farms, mostly in Iceland or until recently China. The more power you can use, the more Ethereum or Bitcoin you can mine, the more money you get. Again, far more complicated than this, do your own research, but this is the single reason my GTX 1070 could resell for $1,000 right now, and what the actual fuck is real life. There are absolutely environmental concerns related to this use of power, and the scale of the consumption of this power is indeed pretty staggering. Ethereum and Bitcoin together use as much energy a year as all of Mexico. Like the whole thing, the entire country. Most NFTs right at this moment are indeed minted on the Ethereum blockchain. I will also note that Ethereum is planning to become proof of stake sometime in 2022, but hey, you can go listen to Vitalik talk to Lex Friedman on this podcast about past and future delays, and again, make your own decisions, yada yada. The second type of crypto is proof of stake, in which the blockchain is verified by randomly selected nodes, which are a series of thousands of computers, usually Raspberry Pis, scattered around the world. They use no more power than a Raspberry Pi, which I see here is about 2.5 amps at max, somewhere like 15 watts, which even at the scale of 3,000-ish on Cardano right now is not burning down the rainforest. It's the equivalent of about 35 American homes per year. I'm sure to some degree this section will be outdated in a few years, but for right now in the West, it looks pretty bad to be minting on proof-of-work blockchains like Ethereum. NFT sellers that understand the bad look generated by minting their NFTs on proof-of-work blockchains will work to solve it. In that way, all the feedback is inherently a positive thing. Like I said, Ethereum is moving away from proof-of-work. And if you see an NFT minted on a proof-of-stake blockchain, you can sleep soundly knowing that you're not burning down the rainforest by supporting it. A quick mention of gas fees. On Ethereum right now, gas fees to mint something or send Ethereum can be massive, and I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole personally. They can easily be hundreds of dollars to do anything, including mint an NFT. If faced with those fees, you can just use another blockchain that supports NFT creation. Minting the NFT for this video cost less than 50 cents. Among the current biggest crypto after Ethereum, Binance, Cardano, Solana, and Ripple all support NFT creation, and to varying degrees are proof of stake. Does supporting NFTs support terrorism as they are used for money laundering? That's kind of like saying supporting nuclear power plants in France generating the cleanest energy possible also supports North Korea's nuclear missile testing. Your money goes to who you send it to, no one else. The anonymity offered by the blockchain does indeed mean you should be much more discerning when you do send crypto. However, I usually don't bother with any group or business who remains anonymous in this space. As far as NFTs go, any idiot can mint anything. It's on you and the marketplaces we build to do your research and see if it's legitimate. Technology is only a tool, and it has no inherent morality. But if you want to know more about it, definitely search up blockchain governance solutions. There's a whole lot going on in this space. Alright, if you've sat through the last 20 minutes, give yourself a pat on the back. I am sincerely, honestly proud of you. I hope you understand a bit more about the concepts behind NFTs and where it's all headed. If anything, it's going to increase and increase drastically in the anime sphere. It's still very, very much the Wild West, and I think once companies and rights holders find the way to go about milking the nostalgia for a collectible like this, we're going to see some big stuff. If done legitimately and cleanly, it could be a great way of supporting creators, similar to a Patreon. Plus, the Japanese creator reception so far for collectible NFTs of their work isn't nearly as reserved as it's been in the West. Basically free money, and they're going to be quite amenable when anyone with a business plan comes knocking. That's not a value judgment on NFTs, that's just a use case born from cynical interpretation of anime merchandising. Just reading the winds. Put that ping pong the animation clip right here.
为什么？我哪知道？日本人喜欢背。不说了，进去找找。风声太大，听得不清楚。
It's my hope that you have a bit more knowledge about the space now, and I sincerely hope to see a lot less moral aggrandizing about what is just another form of collectible. When the world starts burning down, NFTs won't be the match or the tinder or the gasoline. Tune in next time as maybe I try to stay in my lane more.